Hello, my friend, and welcome to this episode of A Call to Leadership. I'm Dr. Nate Salah, your host. I am so thankful that you joined me on this episode as we uncover an area of leadership that I've talked about before, but not in this context. One aspect of the journey as an effective leader, a leader who discovers, influences, and achieves rolled around shared purpose, is your connection with other leaders. Is your ability to have a diverse group of leaders around you who can help stimulate that aspect of discovery, that aspect of influence, and that critical aspect for effective leadership of achievement. Oftentimes as leaders, we're isolated. We are by ourselves doing what we need to do. We sometimes feel like no one understands, especially in an entrepreneurial or business context, sometimes in a family. You feel alone. Perhaps there's issues, challenges we're facing with disagreements with a spouse, trying to work through raising children, whether it's a loved one or a sibling. All kinds of challenges come across our purview, whether it's business, family, or life in leadership. And we need community. We need others who are facing similar challenges, have faced similar challenges, perhaps in different contexts, that can share in our burden, who can perhaps illuminate a better path, eliminate pathways that do not lead us to our better future state. How do we do that? All kinds of ways. One way that I want to share with you today is something that I embarked on 4 years ago, and it was transformational for me. I didn't even know what this idea was before I went on this journey. It was called a mastermind. You think, what the heck is a mastermind? I've heard of the word, but I didn't really know what it was. I didn't know how it helped me as a leader. In fact, I was asked to start my own mastermind. A colleague, friend of mine said, Nate, you need to start a mastermind. And this was way back in 2019. I said, well, I'm finishing up my doctorate, and I'm not going to take on any more responsibilities until that's completed, writing my dissertation. But when I'm finished, I will entertain the idea. So I finished, and instead of just starting one, I decided to join one and understand the mechanics of it as I was working out the details on perhaps starting my own. So what is a mastermind? Well, I found that this was a group of people. In my context, this was entrepreneurs who gathered on a regular basis every 4 months for 2 days to discuss their biggest challenges they were facing over the next course of their days and months and years. But not just discuss it. We focused primarily on what is the starting place for your discussion. The starting place for your discussion is your vision. This was a central aspect of my journey in the mastermind experience. In fact, and I love it because, well, my PhD work is in visionary leadership. So vision is very near and dear to my heart. If you listen to the show, if you watched it, you know that vision is essential to effective leadership. You can't see where you're going. You won't know where you're going, and no one will want to follow you to an unknown, dark and undisclosed location, because that's just wandering, friend. You need vision. In fact, you know the old proverb, if you've listened to the program long enough, without vision, the people perish. So this aspect of vision became more real to me when I heard it through the mouths and the lives and the stories of other entrepreneurs. And I was able to feed into their lives. They fed into my life, helping me with blind spots, helping me with looking at ways that perhaps I could see my context, my situation a little differently. I came to rely on this group of individuals to help me to navigate some very, very difficult places, some tough decisions to make. I would go in to the 2-day retreat, is what we called them, and I've got this idea and this thing I want to do. And after I explained my decision making, some of the things I wanted to accomplish, some group members were able to help me to see some things that I didn't know in my purview, helped me to make better choices. Sometimes the decision I was going to make was radically altered based on the input of these high value, high performing entrepreneurs. And so I began to really find that it was that the impact for me was great. And I wanted to make sure that when I started my own mastermind coaching program, that I infused that same level of integration in that journey. So I started to recruit, invitation only. Would you like to join me in this journey of a mastermind? And so the mastermind is part connecting with the other leaders, part connecting with the coach, the mastermind leader, and having a monthly one-on-one. And so as both of these tracks were developing, I found tremendous resources. And here's what happened, friend. What happened not only in the mastermind that I was attending, but also the mastermind which I was building. And my mastermind launched toward the end of 2020, and here we are at this recording, 2024. So going strong. We just came off of a 2-day retreat. In fact, and this is one of the reasons why it's still fresh in my mind, I want to share with you. The level of bonding that has happened through this group, 12 people who are from diverse areas of business. Some of them are from similar areas, and they're all in different seasons of their businesses. Some are getting started. Some are in a season of they've been in business for 20 plus years. They've all had ups and downs. They all share in the struggle. And sometimes it's not just business. Leadership is not just business. Sometimes there's something going on at home, whether it's a family member, a spouse. You have all kinds of pressures happening in your leadership journey. Well, this is an opportunity for each of these individuals to uncork that pressure in a very safe, confidential environment where they can share what's going on. And inevitably, there are breakthroughs. And the way these individuals describe their experience, it's a family. It's a fraternity. It is true love. They care for one another. Now, that's the environment that I've developed and fostered in this culture, if you will. And this isn't something that I'm doing where it's a big business and I've got lots of different mastermind groups. I've got one group, 12 people. I'm good with that. This is a wonderful opportunity for me to invest in these individuals from a leadership perspective, particularly with all of the leadership training that I've had over the years, academic and non-academic, in the practitioner world and in the academic world. And really just invest in them and watch each of them grow tremendously as leaders. In fact, we just had an exercise where, and I've mentioned this before on the program, writing a letter from your future self to your current self. And that letter, 5 years in the future, explaining who you are, how you've found this ideal future, and it's the ideal self. What are some of the milestones? What are some of the things that you are thankful to your current self for putting in action as you begin to grow? And friend, just being a part of listening to each of these stories unfold on paper, because we extract the vision from your mind, put it onto paper, and to hear the depth and care that each individual has put into their future self, it is moving to see the effort to foster, to craft a future. Because here's the thing about the future. It's coming. 5 years from now is coming. Regardless whether or not we do anything, we plan, we create, invent or not, it's coming. So why not? Why not predict the future? You say, Nate, I don't know how I can predict the future. It's been said like this: the best way to predict the future is to invent it. If you can imagine your best future state, your ideal self in the future, and begin to develop that, extract it from your mind and develop it, put it onto paper. And then that begins to manifest itself as you take action day by day by day, with discipline, with determination, with resilience, with fluidity, to author that future self. And in that 5 years, when you meet that future self is thankful, gratitude, appreciation that you took those steps for change, for progress, for improvement. You can start with just what's one thing in 5 years that I will want to have accomplished that I have not accomplished today. One thing. For me, from 2015 to 2020, that thing was I wanted to walk across that stage, terminal degree, earn my PhD. And I did whatever it took. I imagined myself first. I visualized myself walking across that stage. Just like with cutting the nets on the basketball court. You cut the nets after you win the championship, right? Cut the nets in your mind. Cut the nets physically as you prepare your mind, prepare yourself as you dream. But dreaming's not enough, friend. Dreaming is only one aspect of this equation. Dreaming is about foresight, but you must have insight. You must think about what I must do day to day to day. And you also must have hindsight, looking at the past to understand, to learn from what you experience. So the past is the learning. The present is the building. And you must see the future. You must see the future you, because that is the believing. And if you cannot believe, I guarantee you, you will likely not receive, because you have to be living. To say to I believe something is to be living it day by day by day. You have to believe that you can become that ideal self in the future. There's all kinds of things that are going on right now. You may say, Nate, I can't predict the future because I don't know what's going to happen along the way. Hey, listen, friend, there's a lot of things that we don't control. There's a lot of things we can't control in life, but there are some things we can control. I can always control my attitude. My attitude is an attitude that we'll find a way. I don't know the way. We'll find the way. That doesn't mean I have to be massively optimistic. That doesn't mean that I'm struggling if I'm pessimistic. It just means that there is a solution available, and I don't always have it. And that's why we have to circle back around with a group of individuals who have our back. If you don't have that in your life, I would encourage you, now is the time. Get connected with others. Look up the word mastermind and see on social media, see if there's one that fits you and your desire to grow. Maybe there's 3 people in it, maybe there's 5, maybe you start one, maybe there's 10 or 12, whatever it looks like. Get together with masterminds in your genre, in your area. Maybe you're in real estate, maybe you're in construction, maybe you're in manufacturing. I started a mastermind that was multidisciplinary. So I wanted a very diverse group of individuals because I believe that diversity has massive power to create progress. If we're homogenous, if everyone's the same, perhaps I don't have as much resources to learn from different industries and different segments that will inform me. I found that in business, this is critical. Think of Steve Jobs and Tiffany's, right? He wanted to create a high value brand as if it was a Tiffany's. That's one of the things he did with Apple. He looked outside of his industry. Southwest Airlines, when they went to NASCAR to see how these pit crews can get these cars out so quickly, it helped them with faster, more on-time flights. Of course, NASCAR only used one kind of car. Southwest only uses one kind of plane to this day, 737. So the point is that for our group, diversity has been immensely valuable. It may be different for you. It may be different for you. The point isn't necessarily having this kind of group or that kind of group. It's taking the steps today to say, who can I bind with that can challenge me in a healthy way, that cares about my future, that I can invest and pour into as well. If that's not something that you've endeavored to do, I suggest it is time. And if you are currently doing it, if you're listening and you're like, Nate, I'm in a mastermind, I absolutely love it. Fantastic. Now is the time to continue to develop and harness that. And don't take your foot off of the accelerator when it comes to growth in a collaborative fashion. Don't lose sight of that. Don't ever get isolated. Isolation is desolation. Make sure that you continue to grow. These individuals will challenge you to rise, because when the tide rises, all ships rise. Sometimes your vision might be a little too low for your abilities. We see that quite a bit here and there in our group. I've sometimes, when someone's vision is a little lower than their aptitude or their ability, then I say, hey, come on, bring it up. Bring it up. Say, in 5 years, I want to have X dollars in liquid reserves based on this, and this. No, not enough. Bring it up. You can do better. Come on, bring it up again. Because wherever you, now that, I'm not saying you set goals that are unachievable. Don't do that. You want achievable goals. Of course, you've heard the SMART method, right? Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, time bound. There's a lot of merit to that. However, make sure your goals are stretch goals. You want to stretch, just like if you're physically exercising, stretch. If you want to, just like in mental exercise, spiritual exercise, emotional exercise, whatever the discipline is, stretch, because that stretch creates progress far beyond what you may perhaps thought was possible. You do it in a collective. You do it with others. You find people who share your values, and you light up the world together.